Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us on this very busy Sunday. I'm Lindsay Davis. There are several breaking news stories as we come on the air. The urgent rescue efforts in Haiti after that devastating earthquake there, and hospitals here at home are on the brink of failure as the COVID crisis intensifies. More on all of that in just a moment, but we begin with Afghanistan and the dramatic fall of the capital. Just today, President Biden sending more troops, a total of 6,000 now, to speed up the emergency evacuation of embassy staff and some Afghans who helped the U.S., such as interpreters and their families. The White House releasing this photo of the president being briefed on the developments on the ground. Helicopters and black smoke visible. American diplomats, including the ambassador, evacuated to the airport. At least 500 staff leaving the country so far. The embassy shuttered, the flag coming down. Secretary of State Blinken declaring to ABC's Jonathan Karl, this is manifestly not Saigon. These images from Al Jazeera claim to show Taliban fighters inside the presidential palace. Earlier today, the president of Afghanistan fled the country, saying he chose to avoid bloodshed. Thousands of Afghans now scrambling to get out. The Kabul airport packed earlier today. We have team coverage. ABC's Martha Raddatz, Rachel Scott standing by. But we begin with our senior foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, who leads us off tonight from Kabul.
Tonight, the Taliban taking Kabul, Afghanistan's capital and last government stronghold. This footage from Al Jazeera purporting to show Taliban fighters inside the presidential palace declaring the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, marking the end of a 20-year experiment of democracy and the stunning completion of the militants' dramatic takeover, seizing nearly all of the country in just over a week. Earlier, there were skirmishes and panic at the city's airport. The Afghan president, Ashraf Ghani, fleeing as the Taliban closed in, saying in a Facebook message he wanted to save Kabul from bloodshed. Smoke rising over the U.S. embassy, Chinook helicopters taking off, evacuating U.S. personnel from the country, and eerily reminiscent of the fall of Saigon.
This is manifestly not Saigon. The fact of the matter is this. We went to Afghanistan 20 years ago with one mission in mind, and that was to deal with the people who attacked us on 9/11. And that mission has been successful.
The Biden administration defending the U.S. withdrawal from the country, but clearly caught off guard by the Taliban's rapid advance. Just today, President Biden sending more troops, a total of 6,000, to hasten the emergency evacuation of the embassy and some Afghan visa applicants. Today, the flag removed, the doors shuttered, the U.S. ambassador and all operations transferred to the airport for safety. Embassy staff told to destroy sensitive equipment and documents, especially those containing images of the American flag that could be used as propaganda. And on the streets of Kabul, fear and despair. Long lines as residents scramble to withdraw their life savings, many saying the banks simply running out of cash. And a desperate crush at the Pakistan border crossing as people try to flee. And chaos at the airport as thousands of Afghans desperate to get out. Just 5 weeks ago, this was President Biden, adamant that what we witnessed today wouldn't happen.
The likelihood there's going to be the Taliban overrunning everything and owning the whole country is highly unlikely.
But tonight, the worst predictions for Afghanistan's future coming true. In less than 3 months, the Taliban capturing control of nearly every major district outside Kabul. Just this morning, taking the city of Jalalabad before advancing on the capital. This video, released by the Taliban, claiming to show their forces being cheered by residents in the streets. And now the women, and especially the girls of Afghanistan, who've grown up in a country where they have freedom and rights, fearing all of that will be stripped away. This displaced school teacher says she watched girls being lashed by the Taliban just for wearing sandals. Yet Miriam here, still defiant.
I'm not afraid of them. We are not the people who will, go back to the dark era. I'm a girl and I don't care about anyone. But what should I be scared of? This is my homeland, my land.
Her land. This country, now under Taliban rule, after 20 years of war, costing trillions of dollars and tens of thousands of lives. Tonight, so many questioning, what was this all for? And what will the future hold? General McKenzie, the head of US Central Command, met with the Taliban in Doha today, telling them not to interfere with the US mission at the airport, warning that the US has the firepower to defend themselves while they work round the clock to get everyone out.